All right. We got animals that get the middle finger from childhood. I said I would drop these on the same day, so hopefully they're out on the same day. So let's go ahead and get into it. Make sure y'all leave a like, subscribe, etc., and support the original video.
A hippo made me cry.
Just got
Hippos are
into it.
easily first ballot in the Hood Nature Hall of Fame, but they didn't get it from turning hundreds of humans into hashtags a year, or for being a part-time predatory land whale out of water, while also being fast enough to catch a ticket in a school zone. It's not because of it's not just their eyes. It's because as a kid, I was traumatized by 3 words: hippo, baby, shower.
What?
Maturing is realizing 2 things about nature. 1, you hit the RNG lottery if you die of old age, and 2, you probably
Yep.
have a worse childhood than an actor from Redacted.
Yeah.
Since I've already made a mother and father
From
video,
who?
you probably have a worse childhood than an actor from Redacted. Since I've already made a mother and father video on this channel, instead, we're gonna do basically the opposite. Here are the animals that get spanked the hardest by reality the moment they're born. And while this isn't really a bad parents video, you're gonna see some of these animals need CPS in the worst way. So yeah, back to hippos. So as a kid, I was watching this documentary.
Was she just rubbing a monkey cooch on her baby?
I couldn't really tell you what it was called or even what it was about, but there was this one scene where a mother hippo showed up with her freshly born calf, and the other hippos woke up feeling like Mike. Jackson, Tyson, Jordan, take your pick. Either way, I watched the calf become corpse confetti in front of my eyes. Hippos are actually pretty solid moms. They'll take a maternity leave from the herd and pretty much quarantine herself for weeks to have the kid, and it's usually after a couple of weeks where she'll return to the pod. Problem is, if she comes back to an overcrowded pool or limited resources or really just a hippoing, males will gang up on the mother, separate her from the calf, and make a hippo baby shower shockingly literal. In their defense, it's technically rare, and it's not like your favorite animals don't follow the same script. But man, did the squeals of an eviscerated baby hippo alter my brain chemistry. The hippo's first introduction to its own kind is a family pool party that can turn into an actual bloodbath, and if that's too dark for an intro, I'm gonna put this right here, because like the world to Ray Charles, it only gets darker. So in my non-professional online opinion, there's about 4 ways animals fresh out the womb get violated by the natural order, and the first one's what hippos go through, which I like to call running the gauntlet. It basically means because of circumstances, an animal too young to be anything but a milk merchant has to go through trials, tests, and a real-life bullet hell that I would hesitate to wish on my worst enemy. And unfortunately, my worst enemy is not this bird. You see, the barnacle goose had a problem. They build nests on high, cloud-caressing cliffs, away from polar bears and foxes, but their food source, aka their entire way of life, is at the very bottom. And because they're basically flying lawnmowers that eat mostly grass, they can't just mama bird food into their faces. And air Ubering them down ain't on the table either. So their only option is to jump. All the way down. The day-old flightless baby barnacles freefall up to 400 feet straight down. The Statue of Liberty would be a vacation for them, and the only thing breaking their fall are the rocks littering the bottom. Really, the only break they get is nature giving them a fluffy down coat and flyweight class to make the whole rock landing thing less of an immediate game over. But don't worry, it gets worse. The parent geese do help by calling out to the chicks and kind of coaching them down, but their encouragement can end up attracting the same predators they were trying to avoid in the first place. Also, as a conscious cotton ball, they go wherever the wind blows them, and if that happens to be too far away, they can get snatched by a raven before their parents even get to them. Not to mention, barnacle geese don't get full immunity. 10% of the chicks become a casualty to the cliffs, and only a third are alive after 2 days. Basically, this is the second animal in the row where baby shower sounds more like a sick joke, and wouldn't you know, they're not the only birds that don't need autumn to be a fall baby. Wood ducks have to yeet themselves up to 50 feet out of their tree nest or starve to death inside. I didn't know water landing was a luxury because merganser chicks have to do the same thing, except the best they get are leaves. But at least with ducks and geese, they run the gauntlet, but they have their parents there the whole time. This crab could only be so lucky. The Christmas crab's named after the island it's on, and every year, the crustacean exodus travels from within the forest all the way to the coast by the island it's on, and every parents there the whole time. This crab could only be so lucky. The Christmas crab's named after the island it's on, and every year, the crustacean exodus travels from within the forest all the way to the coast by the tens of millions for, well,
the
you know what this drink is called, just know crabs have copious amounts of it. Walking to your spring break when you're only inches tall is a struggle enough. Doing it in reverse at tick size is veteran difficulty. Because a few weeks later, the Christmas crab progeny has to backtrack from the beach all the way back into the recesses of the jungle with the rest of the population. It takes over a week straight of walking, while dodging everything from cars to the people in them. And that's if they don't get spawn sniped on the beach by their own kind. Out of the legit billions of crabs that take the journey on, only, let's see here, 0.0001% of them live long enough to continue.
How is it that you have billions and less than Less than 0.01%. Less than 0.001%. Like, why are there should never, that's
In the
crazy.
cycle. Now, I'm not the best at math. They're arguably the only insight that can give 10% of the Furious 5 problems. Nani? It sounds like all but 1 in 10,000 crablets are statistically f***ed. Nothing says Gauntlet like having so many kids. You basically forced a right hand of RNG to do at least one of your own right. Spoiler alert, you're gonna see that again. But nothing makes running the Gauntlet more literal than Godzilla's understudy. Ironically, the marine iguana is only a menace to algae and is
Jesus Christ! What
like
the
that.
fuck? Why is there an actual? No. We actually need to no. Keep me out. Just keep me in the U.S., bro. The minute I go outside the U.S., I'm getting murked by a fucking animal. Whether it's Godzilla, Gamora, something else out there, the arsenic birds in the other video. Like I'm done.
Their childhood is anything but, because gravid iguanas will lay their eggs deep in sand or volcanic ash. But that also means they have to do the dash when their underground nursery turns out to be a snake pit. As soon as the iguanas are born, they immediately rush to the rocks for cover, and that can get them tailgated by, of course, racer snakes. And like their name suggests, they're liable to run down a luckless lizard. Bro really just blew a 4-0 leg lead. Oh, and Eurostepping Satan's garden hoses doesn't mean they still can't get picked off by the always menacing Galapagos hawk. Running through ops like Marshawn Lynch your first day out is survival of the fittest on steroids. And remember, running the gauntlet is just one of the ways the world plots on the young. But number 2 might arguably be worse. Criminal negligence.
What do you mean?
If you take an L, you can chalk it up to a skill issue. But with a parent like that, if you're strapped for luck, you're pretty much in trouble. The harp seal is actually a decent mother.
Harp seal.
For 12 days, she nurses her pup for less than 2 weeks, then what? She abandons the pup to go find more males, because mother harps are for the sheets. The ice sheets. Keep in mind, a baby seal can't swim or otherwise feed itself for the next 6 weeks, even losing half their weight in the process. Forcing a hunger strike on your kids is bad enough. Pulling that in polar bear country is diabolical. Worst part is, the pups are naive enough to confuse anything that moves for their mother, so those videos of them pulling up to cameramen, it just got a lot darker. Quokkas are on a different kind of timing, because they'll yeet their young as a contingency plan against predators. And while no, they don't literally throw their babies into the oblivion, if things ever get too tight during a chase, the muscles in the pouch do the exact opposite and drop the joey on the ground. And while the screaming, writhing joey gets the worst kind of attention, Mama Marsupial hightails it, because you know what they say. What's 17 more years? I can always start again. Make another kid.
Yo,
kangaroos, wallabies, and quokkas have all been known to ghost their kids in the worst way. In fact, tree kangaroos have been known to eject their joey over the stress of a bad storm. But hey, shout out to koalas. Not only could I not find cases of them sacrificing the youth, some koalas have adopted orphan joeys and looked after them like their own, so big ups to the chlamydia care bear. You got koalas caring for kids that aren't even theirs, and a desaturated deadbeat forfeiting custody to the gulag. Pandas often have twins, but because they only have the facilities to keep one alive, they'll basically flip a coin, keep Zach, and Cody gets returned to sender. To the point where zoos have to play parent trap with a panda and will sub in one twin after another. Whole time the bag of bamboo thinks she only has one. But you've definitely heard all this before, so I'm not gonna go in depth. What I will do though is mention the bird of pandas. This is a grebe. If you haven't seen one before, let this be your introduction. The hooded grebe will have 2 eggs, and they'll lay both on this kind of floating nest. First to hatch hitches a ride on their mom's back. Second place, yeah, it just gets left there. 97% of the time, the grebe couple only raises one chick. It's bad enough when pandas do it, but at least the DreamWorks franchise isn't endangered anymore. Being critically close to being cooked while having a one-child policy is just egregious. Oh my god. In fact, the average baby raised per adult each year is 2. That's not a smudge. Make that 0.2. And yet there's a bird that egregious. Oh my god. In fact, the average baby raised per adult each year is 2. That's not a smudge. Make that 0.2. And yet there's a bird that might be worse. Now, how could emperor penguins be here? They were in my Father's Day video, and their mothers aren't slouches either. But in a really cruel twist of fate, the very thing that makes them great parents can royally screw the chick over. Prolactin is a hormone that goes into overdrive once the penguin lays an egg, and keeps going long after the chick hatches. And it's believed it's actually the high levels of prolactin that drives a penguin to make the long trip back to its chick after days of filling up at sea. The problem is, the prolactin doesn't fall off if the penguin ends up losing the chick, and the parental drive can be so strong, it forces them to kidnap someone else's. Not only can the
What?
chick get accidentally smothered in the process, most times the kidnapper loses interest after a couple hours, leaving the forcibly fostered chick to die, either of starvation, freezing, or getting turned out by a giant petrel. Oh, speaking of which, they'll really watch an ice-chilled vulture snatch their child in front of them and will do jack about it. I mean, sometimes they'll try.
What? What? He was just dragging that little nigga. Yo, what? I thought penguins were cool. I watched Happy Feet. I thought they were chill. Yo, like, yo, like he actually no, like he dragged him. He was do something. You were standing there just flapping your shit, my guy. You're T-posing. Help the kid. Oh my god.
Child in front of them and will do jack about it. I mean, sometimes they'll try. Until they don't. Imagine a plot of Taken, but if Liam Neeson was in the same room and didn't even move from his couch. To be fair, I honestly don't know what I was expecting.
Y'all are just looking at him getting murked.
Mind you, that's only the half of it, literally. Because next is what I like to call, it be your own. You've probably seen videos of storks throwing their own chicks out of nests. It's cause in survival of the fittest. Fit isn't about strength or washboard abs, but fit is more like how good you are at making more of yourself and passing the genes off. Look like a liability, and most bird moms aren't going to waste the resources better spent on your bigger brother. They'll just subtract you from the census themselves. And that's not the only way parents can be your biggest op. Scorpions are dedicated enough to literally carry their entire family on their backs for days. But let resources get low enough and you'll see a spice roach having a kid's meal. And long-tailed skinks go full scorched earth. She'll try to defend her nest, but if she feels like it's getting invaded too often, eventually she'll say f it and eat her entire family first. Funny thing is, most skinks will just lay their eggs and peace out, but those in the area codes of egg-eating snakes will guard their nests. That is until the moms get pressed enough and become the predator. The burying beetle has a different problem. You see, this corpse roach will turn an expired rat into a nursery, but if there's too many beetleists, there won't be enough food and they'll end up small and underdeveloped. So the beetle will systematically murk a small percentage of her own children to keep the ratio honest, and science says it's the beetles that beg the most for food that get packed up. Seriously, the larvae that beetles can beg, by the way, but the ones that only do it when they're genuinely hungry actually have a better chance of surviving than the ones that do it constantly. In a weird way, it's like a creative tactic to reward honesty. But also imagine asking your mom what's for dinner and she takes your head off. Either that, or it's a really messed up game of musical chairs where the biggest beetles get fed first until there's no food left, and the ones that get left out get terminated. Which is actually a great transition to the last pitfall of youth: sibling rivalry, or beyond two. Spotted hyenas take on-site literally. They will try to kill each other the moment they're born, and this ain't a friendly Disney Channel type of fate. A quarter of the cubs born never make it out of the den because of it. And considering the very process of birth can turn both parties into a hashtag, yeah, hyenas got it bad. So does this guy. The shoe-bill stork is one of many types of birds that will flatline their sibling to survive, and even with—
Why does it look like... Is that one of the things from the Dark Crystal, bro? Like, I swear. This thing just looks like a Jim Henson puppet. It does not look real.
Different species, the script is the same.
Like, look
the
at that.
chick gets all the food and attention, while the weaker one gets bullied and beaten into oblivion, often while the mother's watching. Heck, sometimes they serve the corpse as a victory meal. But arguably the most brutal case of competition happens in Tasmania. You know exactly where this is about to go. Tasmanian devils can birth 20, 30, sometimes up to 40 joeys, but somehow while their opossum cousins have 13 nipples and the short-tailed opossum has 27, the live-action Looney Tune got capped at 4. So now the blind, hairless, raisin-sized joeys have to somehow race their way from the birth canal all the way to one of 4 milk faucets. As you can guess, the first 4 to feed go on and grow. The remaining joeys get canceled like a Friends spinoff by the mother who eats them alive. I know I said musical chairs earlier, but this is That Meets Saw, directed by Casey Anthony. And somehow there's an animal that gets done even worse. The sand tiger shark can have up to 50 embryos inside her uterus. The problem is, one litter can have multiple fathers. So once one of the embryos grows big enough, it swims around and starts eating all the others. And they don't just wipe out all the smaller embryos. Once the pup clears them, it then eats all the unfertilized eggs in the uterus. And you know these sharks duck zero smoke, because the way we found out was from a scientist poking around a pregnant shark's uterus and getting his hand bitten by an undercooked pup. It's a special kind of spawn killing when you don't even let them spawn, but it gets even more metal because sand tiger sharks have 2 uteruses, so usually have 2 pups. And apparently some predatory pups will swim from one uterus to another and murk everything in sight. Sand tigers have one of the lowest reproductive rates of any shark, and in utero cannibalism probably doesn't help. So those are all the ways childhood is a figurative flogging for some animals, but I missed one. I missed the animal with arguably the worst childhood of all. What animal could that be? How about the one that has to deal with all of this? The gauntlet, the rivalries, the occasional cannibalism. If you didn't think it could possibly get worse, be glad you're not a sea turtle. Baby sea turtles got the Tasmanian devil
yeah, I
experience
heard
on
about
brutal, 'cause not
this.
only do they have to crawl for their lives from beach to sea, they also have to worry about getting digested alive in a vulture's stomach, crushed to death.
Yeah, no, Nemo fucking lied about these motherfuckers, bro. These niggas, no,
By
those aren't sea
crocodiles,
turtles though.
and even having their
Those are
eyes gouged out by
those
cutthroat
aren't sea
crabs.
turtles.
And yeah,
Are they?
that one's still alive. And that's just on the beach. Even if they hit the water, they're likely to get griefed by reef sharks. And in open water, threats like the dolphin fish are liable to turn turtles into hard candy. Some
Oh
species
my
improve
God.
their chances by going at night and using the moon as a guide, but man-made lights can confuse the turtles into going the wrong way on the highway. And this ain't Mario Kart. There is no Lakitu to bail them out. And even though sea turtle cannibalism has only really been seen in captivity, I would not put it past the wild ones, because, well, remember when I said baby birds are like the potato chips of nature? Baby turtles are like the Kit Kat bars of the beach. Turtles got it so bad that their literal only defense is just having so many kids that it doesn't matter how low the odds are, they just have to not be zero. Let's talk numbers. If the average sea turtle lays, let's say 110 eggs in a clutch, and each lady turtle has an average of 3 clutches in a season, with about 100,000 females nesting at the same time, assuming only half the eggs actually hatch, you're looking at over 16 million hatchlings storming the beaches like Normandy. Numbers carry them so hard that sea turtles will actually sing to each other while in the eggs to make sure they're all on the same page and hatch at the same time. But think for that, because in some species, only 1 in every 10,000 turtles born live long enough to make it worth it. The ones that do spend most of their lives at sea until one day their internal GPS takes them hundreds, if not thousands of miles back to the beach where it all began. It's almost inspiring. You know, every sea turtle you see was that turtle out of thousands, and if they can make it out of that, hey, maybe we don't have it so bad. Yeah, let me stop right there. Turtles might as well be named after all the shit they take. Imagine nature gifting you a real-life bullet-hell middle finger for your birthday, and this is the fastest you can go. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water.
He grabbed that little nigga by the head.
Let moms know you appreciate that. Out of all the things she could have been, she's not a harp seal. I hope.
True.
If you're trying to see turtles for real, Cayman Islands Turtle Center, 100% recommended. And unless you're a baby turtle, I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. I didn't know about so many of those, man. Like it's like you just think it's like, oh, it's not much, but like damn, it's crazy. Did I take my took the back light off? Hold up. All right. That's better. Yeah, but make sure y'all drop a like on the original video. Animals that get the middle finger from childhood. Then like this video. Then go go ahead and subscribe. Turn on notification bell, and I'll see ya.
Shout out to me, I've been up. Pump from the crack as of lately, I'm telling them duck. Head to the party, I'm grabbing a cup. What's in my drink has been getting them stuck. I've been here for the moment, they gone for the next, and that shorty gon' slide. But I only one neck up inside of the crib, and I'm holding the ticket. They kick down the doors, better know I'm a vet.